Hi there, I'm Gemma and I'm a single co-parenting mum. I am a technical leader on Salesforce projects, also known as an architect, and I also run a couple of businesses. One business gives architect expertise to Salesforce projects, and the other is a global movement and UK non-profit that helps people become leaders in the Salesforce technical community. Since March, we've definitely struggled with the global pandemic. I started my business in October 2019 and we'd barely even spread our wings when the world just stopped. With no regular income, my child over at her dad's for 5 weeks and being shielded because of my history of breast cancer, I, like many of you, have been really worried and definitely scared. I've spent my working time on initiatives to get the Architect Club name out there, that's my business, spread good cheer, and give people a bit of confidence to return to work stronger on the other side. I consider Heather a friend. I had a call with her about a month ago and we talked about the state of the sector. We talked about how people aren't making calculated decisions about IT projects or digital transformation. And she gave me a really needed pick me up, actually, sharing advice, giving her thoughts for overcoming the challenges of starting a new business. She's been doing this a while, and her encouragement has given me the strength to continue building my new consultancy business, the Architect Club. I've been involved with Supermums for a few years now. I've been teaching and I've actively been supporting it as an ally. The programme aligns really well with Ladies Be Architects because we all work hard together to build communities. Supermums is about helping people upskill in Salesforce whilst promoting coaching, well-being on the learning journey, and that boosts the confidence and aspirations of mums and dads on the course. And with Ladies Be Architects, we boost confidence by celebrating success, by learning together, and by encouraging each other. In doing so, we've given the ecosystem something to aspire to do next once they've got the experience that they're looking for with Salesforce. So I've been asked to come along today and talk to you about boosting your profile worldwide, and that's something I actually often don't feel comfortable speaking about because boosting my own profile just doesn't come naturally to me. In 2017, I was featured in a Salesforce film and I shared how I had bounced back after breast cancer and founded Ladies Be Architects. And the producer was asking me to say things like, I'm a trailblazer because, and I just couldn't do it. I couldn't bring myself to say something so self-congratulating. Even though I knew that I'd done something unprecedented in the Salesforce architect space, I genuinely felt that anyone else could have done it. In the film, you see me having a meeting with people, and we were asked to just have a fake meeting because it's film. That's just what you do. In the film, you see me having this meeting. I ended up spending 15 minutes telling the people in the room all about the Salesforce Architect certifications and having an actual real meeting because I just couldn't do anything else. It just didn't feel right. So I want to talk to you today about the importance of bringing your heart with you to any situation that you might be facing. And when I consider what's happening in the world right now, it's a really unforgiving time. Disease, death, boredom, anxiety, and social injustice, racism, and consternation, and just despair in our situation around the world. In these past 3 months, we've had to go completely back to basics. And I want to share about how going back to basics has helped me to continue making an impact in my industry. If you work with Salesforce, you know it's not just about getting a CRM system up and running. Salesforce is one of those rare companies that actually lives its values, which is why it resonates with so many people, including myself. Not only that, its culture extends beyond the organization itself, and it's real. It really is real. It's not just a marketing ploy. It flows into its community of professionals that's made up of customers, learners, and partners, and it's close-knit. So in a close-knit community, helping each other comes naturally, especially when the values that everyone's united over are shared values of trust, equality, innovation, and success. It's a truly global community, and it connects people through Salesforce's platforms, through social media, and also just in person. Salesforce has created a fan following, but for me, it's also a family. And that family dedicates itself to one thing: helping. Whether we're running courses, office hours, webinars, people volunteer their time to create mini conferences around the world where they can teach, encourage, and inspire one another. and just see all their friends from all over the world. And we're just united by a software company on the face of it. The desire to help the community has even created Salesforce celebrities. The MVP program recognises individuals who go above and beyond to show leadership, generosity, advocacy, and expertise. And that recognition, alongside the champions programs that Salesforce is running, gives leaders an additional platform to help enable them to keep helping. It really is this desire to help that raises awareness of personal brand, and it's also what motivates me. Now, I've always been a bit of a geek. In my teens and early 20s, I could often be found playing computer games or making up tunes, teaching myself the piano by ear. And when I first started working with Salesforce 12 years ago, I was the one dancing around the room in glee because my data loads worked exactly how I wanted, or I'd built a flow that actually worked properly. I like playing with cool things, and with 3 releases a year, there's no shortage of cool toys for me to play with inside Salesforce. Once I decided to have a career working in Salesforce, I became so enthusiastic about it. I just wanted everyone to know how cool it was. It was harder to do that back in the day, since we didn't have Trailhead around or any forest characters to make it more fun. But a few years ago, I got all of a sudden a sense of the fan base that had grown up around Salesforce, and having been in the industry a little bit longer, I knew I had the skills and experience behind me to help newcomers succeed in it. So I started blogging in 2017, and it initially started as a cathartic way to deal with the experience of fighting breast cancer. I had one big burst of writing posts about that experience before I just ran out of steam and couldn't write anymore. And then one day I was in the middle of a Salesforce exam, having picked them up again, and I thought, wouldn't it be useful if I could just share my revision notes somehow, succinctly, and give people a very focused and direct way to study. And as soon as I finished the exam, I just came out and made a list of all the topics that I'd encountered, and they became the headings for my new blog post. And soon it just became a habit. As I worked through each exam, I wrote a blog post immediately afterwards while everything was fresh in my mind. And I deliberately didn't share everything, like, oh, this will come up, that will come up. I just tried to point the way. And in no time, I had posted tips for 6 exams on my blog. And I just started Ladies v Architects in my search for other women who were working through the exams, because I didn't want to do it on my own. And as this grew and Salesforce began to give their support, I noticed the visitor and viewing figures just skyrocketing. I joined Twitter so I could get to know more people and promote my blog. And I loved that people were finding the content useful. Some people began to even post their certification passes and credit the blog in helping them to prepare for the exam. It gave me a massive confidence boost. And as I started working towards the most difficult Salesforce exam that exists, my life ground to a halt because the doctors found a recurrence of breast cancer. It had come back. And I was just shy of my 5-year anniversary. Usually around that time, they discharge you from hospital and you can just get on with your life, apparently. I'd had a feeling this thing was going to come back, and having it confirmed sent my world absolutely crashing down around me. And I wasn't going to get away so easy this time. I'd need a mastectomy and a reconstruction. So as the anxiety played out, I channeled it into my blog. I decided to share exactly what I was thinking, and I applied the same principle that I had for the exams, that maybe it could actually help someone. It was a far cry from when I was first diagnosed, because when I was first diagnosed, I was 29. It was terrifying. Googling for help took me to stories of death. And I wanted to read the story of someone who had got through it all. And I wanted to know what the treatment would be like. And people weren't sharing that. And that's okay. That's a personal choice. Having cancer can feel really lonely, though. And despite there being online forums and support groups, Macmillan Cancer Support Centres, there were certain elements of it that I just couldn't bring myself to do. Like, I couldn't walk into the Macmillan Cancer Centre because suddenly I was a cancer patient. My determination to get rid of cancer meant that I hadn't been planning to stay ill long enough to join a supportive community. I just wanted in and out. I didn't want to be in that world of sick and old people. And this time I knew that even almost 5 years later, I was still dealing with cancer. It's not something that you can just forget and move on. Chemotherapy is poison, and it takes your body years to recover. Surgery changes your body image, it changes your relationships, it changes how you perceive yourself and how you feel. And I just felt older. I decided to help other cancer patients by sharing my experience honestly, openly, and with all the swear words I felt like using to describe how I felt. And I've since learned it's that authenticity that has accidentally or other, has raised my profile. People have resonated with the stories because I've not prettied them up to make them sound inspirational, and I've also not hidden any of my feelings away. Humans are social, feeling beings, and I believe that we have to be kinder to ourselves and each other, and I've learnt that this last year through therapy. We have to allow our feelings to be acknowledged and recognised for the role that they play in all of our conversations, decisions, and the advice that we give to people. And people say that I wear my heart on my sleeve. And in this last year, I've been teaching myself to be okay with that and to accept it as that's who I am. I do share. It's just me. I don't know how else to be. So I did eventually have a go at the big nasty Salesforce exam. Failing that made me feel really wounded. And I gave it a couple of months, shared the experience on my blog and did a couple of conference sessions, mentioned it there. And I told the truth about why I failed, and I emphasised the importance of being mentally ready for a big pressurised challenge like that. And since starting the Architect Club, I've just made sure that I'm having conversations with people. The resilience that I've kept throughout the pandemic is there because I'm still actively networking. If anything, I am networking further afield. Building the relationships has brought me inspiration and a way to course correct. And even just a 30-minute social chat can come back around and help you in the future. So my advice to you is to use this time, keep talking to people, be kind to yourself, more importantly, forgive yourself, and bring all of your heart along. Bring your heart and soul to your meetings, bring you to your conversations. Then you won't need to spend a lot of time establishing credibility. You just stick with what you know, embrace your own way of communicating it. And if you say you're going to do something, get off your backside and do it, because that's what people will see, is that you get things done. We can always improve the way that we communicate. We can always improve the way we handle things. But if you stick to your main principles, it will keep you authentic. So please feel free to join the conversation with me on Twitter. That's where I'm most active. My handle is GemsyBeth, and take a look at my blog. It's gemmablezard.com. There's a whole load of Salesforce tips and tricks and trailhead stuff on there, but there's also some very real life experience through some difficult times, and it's been cathartic to write that down, and I'm still very proud that I've still been able to be myself throughout all of that. I look forward to seeing many of you in person as soon as it is safe to do so. Thanks very much for watching. Take care.